Keep the light on, I'm coming home. I no longer want to roam. Set the table.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 793 with a review of the Ballad of Wallis Island. I'm Christopher Schnese.
And I'm Stephen Miller.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week in the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest films coming to a theater near you. This week, we're easing into this thing. We're taking it. We decided, we could have seen the Minecraft movie. We could have gone out and sat in a giant theater full of a bunch of kids screaming and yelling and probably loving it. I don't know. Instead, we decided to go low key, talk about the Ballad of Wallis Island, which is a film about a young man who has such fondness for this one specific group that he tries to get them together to perform a concert just for himself. Stephen, I know that music is a big thing for you. You've done your whole musical write up talking about individual songs that really mean something and bring you back to places. Is there one artist who you think would be so impactful that you would hoodwink them into giving you a private concert somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I, like you have expressed before, I'm a little bit antisocial in the sense that I almost would rather be anonymous listening to a band than actually be in front of them and have to talk to them, and I guess the person I would invite, if I were to invite someone, would probably be John Darnielle, otherwise known as the Mountain Goats. His music means a lot for me. It's mostly acoustic. He is also just a beautiful writer, and he has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs. So I think it would be a pretty amazing experience that he would also seem to get a kick out of it. At least his internet presence seems to be very friendly and charming. So I think it would be good. But the truth is, I haven't been in the private experience, but I have recently. I went to New Hampshire last August or September to watch Ockerville River, which was another one of my favorite bands when I was in the impressionable age, when I had a favorite band, high school to college.
Yeah.
And this was a tiny, tiny, tiny show at an intimate, not even a venue, just an outdoor kind of park area near where this guy grew up. And I was in the very, very front. So I was just standing in front of him, watching him perform songs I had listened to for 20 years. And it was a beautiful experience. But the truth is, I wanted to kind of vanish a little bit more. You almost feel too on the spot when it's only you. So Mountain Goats is my final answer. But my real answer is no, thank you. Instead, intimate venue with 40 people. That would be my actual ideal, quote, private concert experience. How about you?
Like you said, I am, I don't know, can we call it anti-parasocial?
Yeah.
Is that the best term for it? I would never in a million years, even if it was free, want to be the only participant in a concert with any band that I really, really like. But also I think that I don't bands that mean a lot to me. It's their energy and the me buying musical instruments to play along to their music that I love. I don't know them and I don't have that, I wouldn't, even if I went to a concert and I was the only one, they're you want to grab a drink? I'd be I don't know. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I've thought about this a lot. I would feel hesitant, but then I'd have an amazing time if I did it. And I think you would too. It would just take a little bit of liquid confidence to then have a blast.
Yeah. And it's really, you just need that entryway. And then I've gone to live podcast tapings and then gone and got beers with hosts of podcasts before. And it worked out fine. And I was that's cool. But also there was a bunch of people and it wasn't a thing. If I was the only one that showed up, I'd be oh, who? I wasn't here for that. I'm going. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even that, I can tell you as someone who has now met some podcasters that I've listened to a lot. After you break the ice the first time, it feels remarkably easy to just have one-on-one conversations. So I think we'd get there. A band, to me, it's listening to music alone, especially, I was going to joke before you talked about energy that you can't mosh alone. And I know your style. So I think especially for you, what do you do with your body? How do you how do you emote that you're enjoying it the whole time? It's almost like going to a comedy show alone, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, Steven, I can just stand there holding a beer in my hand and bob my head a little bit. I was going to say, when you were describing the like wanting to disappear, the good thing about being all the way up in front is you are fully visible to the performer, but the rest of the people fade out of existence to you, right? Like you can kind of zone in and you can kind of just do that push in yourself.
Me,
It feels like you're alone.
Yeah. If I weren't self-conscious, it would be the best seat in the house. The same is true for comedy, by the way. I've sat in the front row before and it can be terrifying because of crowd work, you know?
Yeah.
But in terms of like not having your experience interrupted by anyone, it's kind kind of magical.
Steven, I have sat at a table with you as people did crowd work down towards us.
I will always remember that you look like a substitute teacher.
Yep.
That was the crowd work.
I will also remember that our fear of, oh my God, he's going to ask us what we do. We're going to say startup, and he's just going to rip into startups. And then the guy 2 seats from us was like, I'm a startup that evaluates startups. And we're like, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. He went too big. Now nothing we say could possibly be a joke.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what we're doing now.
I did want to say, by the way, it was kind of you to describe this movie as being about a young man. Because no one in this movie is young, and neither is anyone in the audience, because they were all at the Minecraft movie. So I was glad to be in the elder millennial / Gen X / whatever crowd of people instead, watching a movie that makes me feel old, because this group that broke up that he wants to get back together, that he's wistful about, they were like of Monsters and Men, basically. They were popular in like 2007. He's like reminiscing about the Lumineers. And that has been like 20 years. Like it actually makes sense, but it definitely made me feel old when I realized what era the music is set in that he is waxing nostalgic about.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get into it, Stephen?
Let's do it.
Let's take a listen to the trailer for the Ballad of Wallis Island and then come back and give folks a review.
You made it okay?
Is there not like a harbour?
It's sort of nature's harbour.
Welcome to Wallis Island.
No.
Do you sell rice? My phone got wet.
We've got pasta.
Has to be rice, apparently. Oh, you've got rice pudding, look. Rice pudding definitely won't work.
Well, not with that attitude. No, it won't.
You know it isn't.
The great McGwyer. Coming all the way out there without your roadies. Which brings me up to the thorny issue of payment.
Where will the audience be? You said there'd be 100.
I said less than 100.
Is it just you?
Yeah.
Right. I'm literally playing for one guy. I'm going to have to take out a restraining order. Can you shut the door?
Absolutely.
No, I meant...
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm not really used to having guests. So, what's happened with you and Nell Mortimer? When was the last time you played together?
I'm quite a private person, to be honest.
I know you are. But go on, what happened?
Do you invite Nell?
Yeah, she's...
With Michael,
Who's Michael?
the husband.
Oh, shit.
In a good way? Or...
You knew I was coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really listen to your songs back in the day.
Is this my guitar?
Yeah, got that at auction.
Oh, wow, you are a fan.
My favourite is always McGwyer Mortimer. Your music changed everything.
He's gone to get his guitar.
Oh, has he? Has he? Ah.
If you need some affection and you're feeling all alone.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Just take it in, Charles.
Take it in, drink it in, glug. Water everywhere.
Please,
Can we just please
watch the
appreciate
sunsets?
this damn sunset?
If it shows us where it wants to go, oh, give me your love to me.
I know you miss this.
I miss our music.
Oh, give me your love to me.
Hell of a serve you got, you?
I've no one to play with, so the only thing I can practice is the old serve. Ah! See, this is the issue.
Honey,
You love the past, but it's gone now.
You've ruined my life.
I wish you'd stop saying that. One day we might wake up hungover with 2/3 of diddly squat to our name. No! But we'll always have this island and your beautiful music.
Wowzers in your trousers.
Yeah, the waves.
No, shh. Like,
Shut up.
don't say me.
Yeah.
oh yes indeed.
All right, so that was the trailer for the Ballad of Wallis Island. It is the story of this man who has a bunch of money and decides to use that money to try to bring his favorite band back together to do a solo performance for him, and kind of the story of how he puts that together and what happens when the band members realize what the hell's going on. Stephen Miller, what did you think of the Ballad of Wallis Island?
It really is a hard title to say. There's so many trip-ups in it. So we talked about the Ballad of Wallis Island a bit last week. I forget if it was on mic or off mic. And I mentioned that it looked like pretty cheesy in the trailer. Like, I was not excited to watch it, but it had been getting surprisingly good reviews, so I decided that we should see it instead of the Minecraft movie. Mainly because I don't want to have to learn what Minecraft is. I've gone this long. I think I can hold out. And I think this is the best John Carney movie that John Carney didn't direct.
Right.
This is just, it's very formulaic in a lot of ways, but it's like a cozy formula. It's like a beautiful folk song. Like, you want it to resolve, and it resolves, and then you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
And this movie is just so sweet, and like, it's sentimental, but it's never like cloying or betrays its characters in any way. I feel like it's just very soft and kind, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it starts out as a very, very broad comedy. Most of those beats are in the trailer. I would say that's kind of what the trailer is selling you, is the broad comedy about the lonely rich goofball on the island who invites the guy to perform for just him and has all these awkward encounters. And it works in that mode. Tim Key, who plays Charles, I think is very funny. He's the best Nick Frost character that Nick Frost never played. I don't have a third one of these. I know the rule of threes is important. He is just this kind of, he's a little bit insufferable in times only because he's so lonely, and he has this like sense of humor he never gets to use, and he has this like desire to reach out to Herb McGwyer. I don't remember if British people pronounce the H or not. He has this desire to reach out to him, and that comes across as clunky, but he's always lovable. Herb McGwyer, on the other hand, I believe him as this, half of a folk duo who went solo. He's like a little rough around the edges, but he's also sweet and kind. Carey Mulligan is Carey Mulligan, so you fall in love with her, obviously. But over time, the movie becomes less about this broad comedy about different people crammed together on an island, and more just about love and loss and the power of music, the power of performing music, what it means emotionally, and how it maybe can be taken as a substitute for romantic affection, or how it can be confused for it. This is why I feel like it fits with Once especially, but I think it fits with really all of those movies. And I found it very moving. I knew exactly where it was going. Like, there's no surprise in any of the character reveals in this movie. But did I tear up? Yeah, I still teared up. Like, it went where I wanted it to go, and it did it in a way that I found lovely. I think the music is quite good in this movie. Like, it isn't quite inside Llewyn Davis soundtrack, but it's close in terms of, this is definitely a soundtrack I would listen to on repeat and just enjoy. I believe Tom Basden, who plays Herb, not only performed the music, but he wrote the songs too. And I think that's just very impressive, because I found it believable. It's a high bar to say this was a famous folk duo. Let's listen to the music that meant so much to so many people. And I think this movie pulls it off, like Once pulls it off. Like, it isn't quite as impressive as, Glenn Hansard and Marketa Irglova, but it's in the ballpark. Like, it didn't do the thing that movies do, where when they have to show the great work of art, you're like, oh God, this does not come close. Like, to me, this delivered. It was warm and cozy, and I thought it was sweet, and I teared up a little bit. I don't think this is a perfect movie or an incredibly, wonderfully tight movie or anything, but I felt so good watching it the whole way through. And I just, I totally succumbed to its charms. How about you? How did you feel about the Ballad of Wallis Island?
I feel better about it than I feel about trying to pronounce the title of the film over and over and over again on this podcast.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I was a little bit higher going into the film than you were. Like, I wasn't as, like, I succumbed to it in the trailer, right? The trailer's cut well for what this film delivers. You know, there's a line at the end of the trailer about like, you know, one day you'll find yourself in whatever, and then, but it doesn't matter because we'll always have this island and your beautiful music, right? And it's like, this is the extrapolation of that statement into film form, right? And I think that what this film succeeds at is convincing me that this music meant a lot to a person. And you know, after I saw the film and I looked up you know, what the hell this film was all about, from the standpoint of like, this was originally a short film that got extrapolated. The short film is available online. I watched it. The short film basically is that the intro of him arriving at the island and all those kind of interactions and him realizing what the hell's happening to him. And then it kind of resolves the same way. However, it cuts out all the backstory of why this rich person cares about the story. And it cuts out Carey Mulligan's, and when I say cut out, it didn't have those in it.
It didn't exist. And it was the same cast, right? So at the time, was it not like a aging, now defunct group? It was just like, they're still famous? Or he's still famous?
It was, well, they weren't a duo, right? It was just like, oh, this guy's coming out to sing songs for me. Yeah. And it was less about, you know, what it's like to be an artist who has changed what they're doing. Have they like gone against everything they care about for their music? You know, it didn't have those aspects to it. Didn't have the backstory of the group breaking up. It didn't have Carey Mulligan's character at all. It didn't have the rich guy's backstory. And I think that this film is really smart to pad that out and bring that in here, because this film does make me care. You know, at the beginning of this episode, part of why I asked about that question about, is there an artist that means this much to you, is I don't have that. Like, there's a lot of bands that mean a lot to me, but just in the context of where I was at the time, I didn't go through something where that music brought me through it. And I think, you know, when we did our review of A Complete Unknown, you know, one of the things I talked about is like, a lot of the times in musical type of biopic-y type things, you know, you hear a song and it's like, oh my God, this is supposed to be the greatest song I've ever heard. And I'm like, that song's fine. And I praised A Complete Unknown for being like, that film was really great about just punching in on somebody's face, watching somebody perform, and you getting what they're going through emotionally. And this film had that too. There are at least two key moments where people are playing a song, and I'm being ambiguous about who. There's like three people in this film.
Yeah, I won't say who.
There's two people playing, and there's one person listening, and you see an entire lifetime, or you know, an amount of time. You see an entire relationship in the eyes and the quivering lip of a person listening to a song. And I think that this film brought me along with that and made me feel those feelings and made me really love what was happening. Also, this is like my style of humor, like stuff that's barely funny.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the dad jokes of it, and he squeezes so many in, it becomes funny again because it's not funny.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I think that it is a very sweet film, very, very simple film. Like when you watch, if you watch the short film, which is like maybe 20 minutes or whatever, and you realize that like it's kind of this entire film, it's just some things feel quote unquote abridged. Because so little time is focused on it. But I think this film did milk that story for everything it was worth and really pad it out and really bring a lot of like oomph to what it was trying to tell. And it did make me care about these characters and why they're there and what's going on. I'm glad it doesn't, you know, you talked about like, I knew exactly where it was going. I'm glad it didn't go exactly where you think it was going to go. Like, it at least tries to like be better about what you kind of expect.
It's where I wanted it to go, not where I was like maybe afraid it was going to go.
Yeah. And I think it's just an enjoyable, cute film where you walk out of it and you just feel kind of nice and good and happy. I think for me, the medley of songs that gets played toward the end was less impressive than some of the individual songs you see like people practicing or playing at other times. Yeah. But I still had so much good will towards this film that like that didn't hurt it at all. Like I wouldn't necessarily put on the soundtrack. I might put on 2 tracks. But I think this film delivered on exactly what it tried to. This is one of those things where like, it justifies its existence by just being like nice and just kind of joyous, even though there are some heavy feelings and stuff that the film is dealing with. But all in all, had a good time with it. And I don't know that everybody will love it, but I don't
know. It's hard to imagine not at least feeling warm and fuzzy about it.
I feel like if you responded well to the trailer, you will respond well to the film. If you were like, ugh, not in a million years, I don't think this film will win you over, because it's a lot of what you get from the trailer. But if, like me, you enjoyed that trailer, it might be enough to carry you through it.
Yeah. I'm glad it mostly worked on you. Like, I agree that the medley of songs isn't always impressive. Like, this shows way more songs than once showed, right? Like, the beauty of John Carney movies is he knows to, like, duck out after a few bangers, you know? like he keeps the quality control really high. But this is, if you were actually seeing a once famous folk musician who was one half of a duo, like, performing music for a long time, you would get a lot of songs that, like, probably meant a lot to you on the album, but aren't gonna translate as well in, like, an acoustic solo set outdoors, you know? Like, it rung true to me. And one of the songs in that medley is a reprise of a song that was sung earlier, which I assume is one of the two where a whole, like, lifetime or whatever happens during the song. And the reprise of it moved me even more. Like, it means something completely different the second time around. And I just thought it was, like, a beautiful way to tell a story through music. Like, it, and just I just got to give to Charles here. Like, the goofball dad joke, played by Tim Key. He does a lot of expression with his eyes, you know, with a look. Like, he says a lot about his solitude and about his innermost feelings, and it just works. It just all worked on me. I don't know if I can say this is a great movie, because it's kind of hammering a cheat code almost, but the cheat code works incredibly well. You know, this movie is doing a 3-chord structure and it's just fucking crushing it. And when I compare this to, like, Yesterday or something, like, this is so much less cloying. It's less satisfied with itself. It's way more, like, subdued and somber. It just feels like growing up a little bit and being like, yeah, you know, this is life. Let's just enjoy what it is. And I really liked it, and everyone in my theater seemed to be enjoying it too. Like, there were multiple people who were talking during the trailers, and I was very worried about, like, oh no, these are the kind of old people who don't realize that I can hear them when they talk at full volume. Everyone was completely silent for the whole movie. They all just seemed, like, kind of entranced by it. So I think it's a home run. I think pretty much anyone will get something out of it.
Yeah, I will say my least favorite song of the film, the credits.
The title track.
Like,
now that I admit I couldn't fully hear, because that's when the old people resumed their talking.
So was his name Wallace, or was the island's name Wallace?
Something like that. No, he was like, I really like that movie. What about you?
That Carey Mulligan is a great actress.
Yep. They don't know the rules, which is you don't talk during the credits if something is shown on screen, or if the audio is meant to be, like, diegetically a part of the movie in some way. And I understand. They misunderstood. Normally, if a song is playing in the credits, you are allowed to talk to your neighbor while you're walking out of the theater. But in this case, you're not.
No. Well, should we get to verdict, Stephen?
The only other thing I want to say is this made me want to go back to a UK island. I don't know if it has to be Isla again. You and I have been to Wales before too, like a seaside town. I want to go back where it's cozy and you can wear a coat, sip something hot, walk by the water. I don't know. It just made me really, really want to be back in that part of the world.
Yeah.
I know you're used to it now. For me, it's been a while.
Touche. All right, Steven, let's get to verdicts. If you were going to say must see, recommend with a caveat, wait for rental, pass with a caveat, or a must avoid, what would you give it?
You know, I'm going to take my critic hat off and turn on my "this movie made me tear up and feel good all day" hat and say must see. I think this movie is not aiming that high, but it knocks it out of the park for what it wants to do. And I feel like there aren't enough wistful adult dramedy type things like this. And I would, if they made 5 of these a year, I would watch them all the time. I would cry 5 times a year. I would have a wonderful time. So yeah, I just kind of love this movie for all of its simplicity and stripped downness and maybe lack of. I'm not sure if I think it's hard to make a movie like this, but very few people do it, and I think they did it extremely well. I like this more than the last John Carney movie by comparison. So I'm going must see. Go out and watch it. This tiny little movie that I can't imagine many people are seeing.
But Stephen, the last John Carney movie where you're sitting together and got to do a sing-along.
I know, it was a beautiful experience I had with you, but it didn't feel as authentically touching to me. It felt more self-consciously cute, and this movie just felt authentic to me.
I was going to tell you that no matter where we go in life, we'll always have those face masks in the sing-along script and John Carney's beautiful music, but apparently it meant nothing to you.
No, we'll still have it. It meant something to me. It was still memorable. I remember thinking, God, Chris liked this so much more than me. Because I know.
Anyways, my verdict. It's not even taking the critic hat off. I'm going to leave it at a recommend with a caveat. I enjoyed the film. I thought it was very nice. It's not that I wanted it to be more elevated than that. To me, it feels like it's like emotionally a recommend with a caveat, and like temporally, it's like a wait for rental almost, where it's like, yeah, it's just nice. Just put it on sometime when you have a chance, but it's like, I wouldn't drive people out to go see it. But I did enjoy it, and I do recommend it. I thought it was a very, very nice, enjoyable film. So,
okay. Final question, this or Tumble Down?
I almost rewatched Tumble Down just because we had that like little text exchange before, like, so for people who weren't in our text exchange, Steven said maybe it'll be the next Tumble Down. I need to rewatch that again. In my head, I want to say Tumble Down.
Okay.
But still, again, different story. That's the thing, is this film is such a simple, very, very, it's not a story about simple people. It is a very, very simple story. Like I'm going to send you like the YouTube link to this short film, and you'll realize real quick that like you don't have to watch the short film because you just watch the long version of it. Like it's less of an adaptation and more of a just stretching it out and filling in all the backstory for all the scenes that you don't see.
Okay. Does the short film explicitly state or hint at the resonance of the artist for the guy who invited him on the island?
No, not at all.
Okay, not at all.
Yeah. But it's like, it's literally starts with him on the boat, and it's the entire, like half the jokes are the same. Like it's like everything.
Is the shopkeeper there?
There's no shopkeeper either. That was a very, very sad missed part from that one.
Yeah, she was delightful.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'll send you a link to it. Yeah. That's gonna be it, right, Stephen, for this episode?
Yep.
All right. So that was a review of the Ballad of Wallis Island. Stephen Miller, if people want to find you throughout the week, where can they do that?
People can find me at Threads or Blue Sky at sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or ChristopherIRL on a number of social platforms. You can find the podcast over at thespoilerwarning.com, where you can get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on Overcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, or instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from a track selected from artlist.io, so hopefully you're enjoying that. Yeah, we're going to take off. We'll be back next week with what do we decide on? We're doing Warfare and we're doing Drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Two films that I
Two
assume are totally
equally serious movies.
identical.
Yep. We are watching a movie that is a follow-up from a director I really admire who thinks a lot about kind of time and sci-fi concepts and packages them in a populist way that I enjoy. And we're also watching Warfare.
I was waiting for the drop, Steven.
Yeah.
All right. See you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
To call my own.